Good morning, good evening. Charles Neidich here again to welcome you to the second of the concerts of the Wa Sinfonietta, Sunday, May 10th, 7:30 p.m. at the Good Shepherd Faith Church, 152 West 66th Street in Manhattan. As I mentioned in my previous video, the Wa Sinfonietta will be presenting works of three iconic American composers: Charles Ives' Three Places in New England, Lucas Foss's Renaissance Concerto with the wonderful flutist Carol Winsence as soloist, and Elliott Carter's very early and very energetic First Symphony. I promised more detail, and today I will begin with Charles Ives' remarkable first orchestral set, Three Places in New England. I apologize for the construction outside. Ives was one of the most original and remarkable composers, not only in American history, but in world history. Igor Stravinsky wrote about him in 1966. Ives was exploring the 1960s during the heyday of Strauss and Debussy. Polytonality, atonality, tone clusters, perspective effects, chants, statistical composition, permutation, add apart, practical jokes, and improvisatory music. These were Ives' discoveries a half-century ago, as he quietly set about devouring the contemporary cake before the rest of us even found a seat at the same table. And from Arnold Schoenberg, we have written in 1944, when he was living in Los Angeles, "There is a great man living in this country, a composer. He has solved the problem how to preserve one's self-esteem and to learn. He responds to negligence by contempt, and he is not forced to accept praise or blame. His name is Ives." Charles Ives, born in Danbury, Connecticut on October 20th, 1874, was not only remarkably talented, we can say he was lucky because he had a wonderful father, George Ives. During the Civil War, George, who was an abolitionist as well as a musician, had been the Union's youngest bandmaster. His band was called the best in the Army. Now I quote from Charles Ives Society biography page. George Ives would have his boys sing in one key while he accompanied in another. He built instruments to play quarter tones. He played his cornet over a pond so Charlie could gauge the effect of its space. He set two bands marching around a park blaring different tunes to see what it sounded like when they approached and passed. This gave his prodigy son a fantastically broad musical perspective, and most important, a sense that music could not only reflect life, but it could be a symbol of human life and striving and spirituality. Charles Ives was fiercely independent. To preserve his musical independence, he refused to earn his living in music, and he entered the insurance business, and with his friend Julian Myrick formed their own insurance agency, Ives and Company, which later became Ives and Merrick, where he remained until he retired. He became tremendously successful and actually wrote a very important textbook about insurance. There will be a little more about this when I speak about Elliott Carter. We can think of Three Places in New England as three snapshots of life. I will end this video with the three introductions Ives wrote to these snapshots, and we'll continue with Ives in my next video. Number 1, the St. Gaudens in Boston Commons. Colonel Shaw and his colored regiment, moving, marching, faces of souls, marked with generations of pain, part freers of a destiny, slowly, restlessly swaying us on with you toward other freedom. The man on horseback, carved from a native quarry of the world liberty, and from what your country was made, you images of the divine law, carved in the shadow of a saddened heart, never light abandoned, of an age and of a nation. And above and beyond the compelling mass rises the drumbeat of the common heart in the silence of a strange and sounding afterglow, moving, marching, faces of souls. Two, near Reading Center, Connecticut, is a small park preserved as a Revolutionary memorial. For here, General Israel Putnam's soldiers had their winter quarters in 1778 to 1779. Once upon a 4th of July, some time ago, so the story goes, a child went there on a picnic held under the auspices of the First Church and Village Cornet Band, wandering away from the rest of the children past campgrounds into the woods. He hopes to catch a glimpse of some of the old soldiers as he rests on the hillside of laurel and hickories. The tunes of the band and the songs of the children grow fainter and fainter. Over the trees on the crest of the hill, he sees a tall woman standing. She reminds him of a picture he has of the goddess of liberty, but the face is sorrowful. She is pleading with the soldiers not to forget their cause and the great sacrifices they have made for it. But they march out of the camp with fife and drum to a popular tune of the day. Suddenly a new national note is heard. Putnam is coming over the hills from the center. The soldiers turn back and cheer. The little boy awakes. He hears the children's songs and runs down past the monument to listen to the band and join in the games and dances. 3. From the Housatonic at Stockbridge. This is Robert Underwood Johnson's poem. Contented river, in thy dreamy realm, the cloudy willow and the plumy elm, thou hast grown human laboring with men at wheel and spindle. Sorrow thou dost ken, though beautiful, from every dreamy hill, what eye but wanders with thee at thy will, imagining thy silver course unseen, convoyed by two attendant streams of green. Wouldst thou away, I also of much resting have a fear. Let me thy companion be, by fall and shallow to the adventurous sea. Thank you.